All right, your Pipeline Emergency Response Guidelines by the Pipeline Association for Public Awareness 2017 edition. Pipeline Emergency Guideline and Public Awareness. All right, introduction, pipeline basics, pipeline in your community, pipeline right away, pipeline marker signs, pipeline control center, pipeline maps, production facilities, natural gas, liquid petroleum liquids, anhydrous ammonia, carbon dioxide, ethanol, hydrogen gas, sour crude oil, sour gas, emergency preparedness, incident response tests. Step 1, approach cautiously with the upwind, uphill, upstream. Step 2, secure the scene. Step 3, identify the hazard. Step 4, assess the situation. Step 5, obtain assistance with the trained personnel. Step 6, respond with the protect people, property, and environment. Step 7, work together with the pipeline operator. Damage prevention, a shared responsibility. Appendix A, leaking hazard incident response information. Step Appendix B, general products and characteristics. Appendix 6, recommendation minimum evacuation distance for the natural gas run, pipe leaks, and ruptures. Appendix D, natural gas exchanging inside a building. Appendix E, storage facility, additional resource emergency response capabilities. Our introduction, pipelines are the safest, most reliable with the transport of natural gas, crude oil, liquid petroleum, chemical products. Pipelines are primarily underground, which keeps them away from the public contact and accidental damage. Pipelines can also move large volumes of product with a significant lower operating cost when compared to other modes of transportation to meet pipeline industry goals with a reliable, incident-free operation. Pipeline operators invest a substantial human and financial resources protecting people, property, environment, and near pipelines. Damage prevention measures include the routine inspection, maintenance, the corrosion protection, and continuing monitoring, control of the technology, public awareness programs, integrity management, and emergency response plan. While pipelines are generally the safest method of the transportation has with the chemicals, they are not fail-safe. Pipeline product release, where the form of the slow leak of the rupture or risk of any of the community is unlikely. The event of the incident near the involving of the pipeline critical. You know how to respond and are prepared to work together with the pipeline operators representatives. The guideline continues a set of general interoperable emergency response procedures intended to provide firefighters, local enforcement officers, emergency medical technicians, and all other emergency responders who may be the first to arrive at the scene with the basic information that needs to be safe handle with the pipeline incident, but should not be considered with a substitute for emergency response transportation knowledge and sound judgment. The guide contains information that will help you to make the decision about how to best protect your emergency response team from the surrounding public during the pipeline incident. Please review and become familiar with the emergency response guidelines before you're called to respond with the pipeline incident. Pipeline basics. Before we discuss how to respond with the pipeline incident, let's quickly review the basics about pipelines. What are pipelines? What are the purposes they serve? What are the pipelines located with? How will you intend for the pipeline right away with the use of the pipeline markers? How do the operator monitor pipeline performance and ensure reliability? All right, pipelines in your community. Pipelines are national exempt. They have the energy they need to drive the cars, heat and homes, and cook dinners. Never to really consider how they get the petroleum, natural gas, other the chemical products necessary to power their daily activities. Pipeline industry has installed more than 2.7 million miles of pipeline and transport variety of the gas liquid with the gathering points for the storage area for the refineries, processing plants, to customers' home, places for the business. The U.S. Department of Transportation defines the pipeline system as all part of the pipeline facility through the has liquid or gas moves in the transportation, including the pipeline valves of other appurtenances connected to the pipeline pumping the units of the fabricated assembly of the associated with the pumping units, intermediating of the delivery station, breakout tanks, and to ensure the pipeline system remains in safety body of the local and state federal law, regulations, and standard governing pipeline design and construction, operation, public awareness, damage prevention programs. All right, specifically, pipeline operators use a series of gathering, transmission, distribution pipelines to transport many different kinds of liquid petroleum. Gathering pipelines transport crude oil, natural gas with a well-heads production facility to process the facilities where the oil and gas and water are separated with the process. Transmission pipelines remove the refined liquid products and crude oil with the natural gas from the refineries. Marketing distribution terminal will typically use large diameter, high-pressure lines. Our distribution system for the liquid gas products vary, but the liquid products are stored with the transport with the tanker trucks to the final destination, while the gases are natural gas, butane, propane, ethanol, etc. are transported with the source location directly with the residential industrial customers from the lower pressure distribution pipelines. Pipeline right away. Although typically with a buried underground, pipelines may also be found above ground in extremely cold, harsh environments of the pump, the compression station, some of the valve stations, terminal with the above ground or below ground pipelines construction along the clear corridor of the land of the right-of-way. The right-of-way may continue one or more pipelines may vary with, will cross the public and private property with the right of way, with should free of the permanent structures, trees, and identified with a marker symbol. Pipeline marker symbols above ground and signs and markers identify the approximate location. Underground pipe with the markers are required by the president, but the way of the pipeline crosses the under roads, railroads, waterways may also be found at other intervals, locations along with the pipeline right of way, such as the near buildings of the pipeline facility. If the marker do not tell you exact the location, depth of the direction of the pipeline, the pipeline may curve the wrong angle around a natural man-made feature. If there are multiple pipelines, the right of way of the marker signs should be posted for each of the pipeline. And then it shows the picture of the pipeline warning signs. The pipeline markers are different, but every sign tells you the same information: pipeline product, pipeline operator, 24-hour emergency phone number. No, if you ever respond to 911, call the storage order leakage area and approach of the scene of the caution. Look for the clues, and the pipeline is involved with the find marker sign identified with the pipeline product, the operator, the phone number to call with the report with the incident, obtain with the additional information. Alright, your pipeline control center. When you call the 24-hour emergency phone number, the marker sign, you will speak to someone with the pipeline operator control center. The control center is at the heart of the pipeline operations. Information about the pipeline operation, equipped with the parameters, and constantly communicated into the control center with the person with the computers monitoring pipeline pressure with the temperature, flow, alarms, other conditions of the pipeline. With the pipeline operators work hard to achieve the reliable, incident-free operation. Accidents due to occur in the event of the emergency. The control center may be able to immediately shut down with the pipeline begins to isolate the source of the leak of the pipeline. Operating control center may also have the capability to remotely operate, open and close valves to transfer products both to and from the main pipeline to the marketing distribution facility. No, any emergency response that you can help. It can help control the incident, being prepared with to communicate much information possible with the pipeline operator with the current incident situation. Pipeline maps, National Pipeline Mapping System. The map transmissions pipeline with the contact information pipeline operator. If you are found with the National Pipeline Mapping System, nps.phmsa.gov. The directory can be searched with the zip code, with the state, with the county, with the detail of the pipeline maps available with the emergency response, with the obtained long ID, with the password of the pipeline, with the Integrity Management Application, or PIMMA access link. Identified in Site Emergency Planning Application. ISEEP. The new mapping application divided with the association disseminated detail of the pipeline information, collecting information about the population of the areas near pipelines identified site with the intent of the reach of the agency involved with the emergency plan. Contains the following information: product transportation and pipeline site with the inches provided with the member of the company recommended initial evacuation distance, pipeline company with the emergency phone number, the company name with the non-emergency contact phone and email address, the link document containing the additional company information if available. The mapping application can be accessed with the ISEPA.phmsa awareness.org. If you are visiting for the first time, you may request access. Please click on the request login credentials. Submit your information. Users are cautioned with caution that the application does not include all pipelines. If you zoom in and do not see the pipeline with the area with it, navigate to Utah, Salt Lake City. Two good examples of the applications intended to provide. Will welcome your comments. Alright, products and facilities. Natural gas. Natural gas is predominant with the product found with the gas distribution pipeline with a file exemption for the transport of the pipeline. Gas is form of liquid crude oil. The natural occur with the restored the form millions of years ago, result with the heat and pressure acting with the decayed organic material extracted from the wells, transported through gathering pipeline with the processing facility through the pipeline facilities, transported with the transmission pipeline, distribution centers and distribution pipeline. The main ingredient of the natural gas is methane. Natural gas of the order, colorless, tasteless, non-toxic, the natural state, transported with the feed of the transmission pipeline. Natural gas that typically does not have the odor and add the odor and have the with the delivered for the distribution system with the aim and the temperature of the remains with the highlighter with the however that is compared. Can be compressed under the high pressure for the make it convenient with the application of liquefied natural gas and cold temperature 22,000 negative 260 degrees Fahrenheit facility transportation. Alright, indications of leak and odor like rotten eggs or a bunch of matches. The odor has natural gas only. Load roaring sound like jet engine hissing of the whistle noise, power coming out of the top of the ground with the dirt blowing over the hole of the ground, air of the frozen ground in the summer, unusual area of the melted snow in the winter, an area of dead vegetation, bubbles in pools of water, hazardous release, high flame will easily ignite with the heat with the spark will display with the oxygen, cause asphyxiation, fire with the product with the irritation, toxic gas of the vapors may be explosive with the mixture of the air. Vapor may cause the dizziness, asphyxiation without the warning of the delay, but then they can mitigate with the enclosed spaces. or natural gas facilities, such as the natural gas wellhead, natural gas processing facility, a natural gas compressor station, a site gas meter, a customer meter, or petroleum gas.ARG 115. Petroleum gas is a mixture of the gas hedgers, carbons primarily with the propane, butanol, ethane, which are easily liquid under pressure for the commonly known as residential, commercial heating, auto propane, other industrial application. Propane, butane offers for the transportation under pressure liquid petroleum gas, portable containers used for the fuel, with the heating of the cooking. Liquid petroleum gas is transport has a liquid transmission pipeline that identifies the high volatile liquids, natural gas liquids, various vaporized propane, butane pipelines may be found with a small distribution liquid petroleum gas and tasteless, colorless, odorless gas, and be transported via the transmission pipeline, typically with it have no odor added, and odor is added with liquid petroleum gas is offloaded. Distribution system transportation tanks are permitted the detection vapor leak. Indication of leaks of white vapor of the cloud with the moat may look like smoke with a hissing with a whistling noise with the odor look like petroleum liquids with the gas line fire coming out of the on top of the ground, the dirt blowing with the hole of the ground, the sheen with the surf of the water with the air of frozen ground in the summer area, unusual metals of snow in the winter, dead vegetation, bubblings in pool water, high hazard release, hazard flammable, easily ignite with the heat with sparks with the display for the oxygen and cause asphyxiation with the vapor with the heavier with the air will collect within low areas. The contact with the skin may cause the burn, injury, and a frostbite. Fire may produce irritating and toxic gases. Vapors may form with the explosion of the mixture of the air. Alright, petroleum liquid gas, the emergency response guide to 128. Petroleum liquid gas, petroleum liquid, broad term with the covering with the product, with the including with the crude oil, gasoline, diesel fuel, aviation gas, with the jet fuel, with the fuel oil, with the gas, kerosene, naphtha, acetylene, refined or other refined products. Crude oils, unrefined petroleum that is extracted beneath the earth surface through wells. It comes with the well with the crude oil, but contained with a mixture of oil, gas, water, and other impurities, such as metallic compounds, substances with it, and refinement of the crude oil, with the produce of the product, with the petroleum products that you use every day with the motor oil, with the gasoline, crude oil, they number to transport it from the well of the refineries through the gathering of the pipelines. Refined petroleum products is normally transported with the transmission pipelines to rail of the truck terminals with the distribution to the consumer. Ordering of the diet of these products because they have natural odor. Indication of leak of the pooling of liquid on the ground, odor of the petroleum liquid with the gasoline machine, the surface of the water with the air with the dead vegetation, highly with the release, high flammable with the easily ignite with the height of the spark with vapor, the heavier than air with the collective and low air with the contact of skin, may cause the burn, injury, frostbite, fire, may produce irritating toxic gas runoff with the may cause pollution. Vapors may form an exposure with the mixture of the air. And then it shows that crude oil diagram, liquid refined product through the network, transportation pipelines, refineries, marketing, distribution terminals, ultimately consumer. Typical sequence of the petroleum products that flow through the pipeline. Petroleum liquid facilities, oil well, block valve, pumping station, storage tanks, truck loading, rail loading facility. Alright, anhydrous ammonia in liquid petroleum form of the pure ammonia gas is uncolorless liquid with extremely pungent odor, normally transported with the transmission and pipeline located in the Midwest, used the primarily with the agricultural fertilizer and industrial refrigerant. Indication of leak of the white vapor of the cloud with what may look like smoke with a hissing with a white noise with the dirt blowing with a hole in the ground with the irritating pungent odor. Has a leak with the will display for the oxygen with the cause of the asphyxiation vapor. The heavier than air will collect when low air. The contact with the skin with the makeup of the barrier burns, air injury with a frostbite. Toxic may fail, fatal inhale with absorbed through the skin. Vapor that is extremely irritating, corrosive. The head of a fire head might produce the irritating toxic gas runoff, may cause pollution. Or carbon dioxide, ERG 120. Carbon dioxide is a heavy gas that normally transported with the transmission pipeline with the compressed fluid, naturally occurring colorless, odorless, and tasteless gas used in the petroleum industry. Under normal conditions, carbon dioxide is stable, inert, and non-toxic. Indication of leak with the hissing with the white whistle noise with the dirt blowing with the hole of the ground, come with the air with the frozen ground with some of the unusual meltdown of the sun with the winter. Bubblings in pool with the water has the release of the displaced oxygen can cause asphyxiation. Vapors are heavier than air will cause the collecting low air. The contact skin may cause the burns, injury, frostbite. Vapor may cause dizziness and asphyxiation without warning. Ethanol is called the ethyl alcohol colorless liquid with the widely used as an additive of the automotive gas for the transported buried transmission pipeline. Indications of a leak: the pooling liquid of the ground within order of the petroleum liquid with the gasoline order of the ground. The vegetation had a liquid hazard of the release. High flame will easily ignite heat. Spark vapors are heavy in the air will collect in low areas. Contact with the skin may cause burn, injury, frostbite, fire may produce irritating toxic gas runoff and may cause pollution. Vapors may explode with a mixture of the air. Hydrogen gas is commonly produced with the steam of the reforming natural gas, frequently used near the production site with the two main uses of petroleum chemical with the processing ammonia production. Flammable gas for the colors, odors lighter than air. The non-toxic can be active with a simple asphyxiation continues in space. Confined space. Hydrogen is normally transported between industrial facilities as a gas. Indications of the leak with the hissing of the white noise, with the unusual air with the melt of snow, and winter with the air with the dead vegetation, bubbling of the pools of water. High flame will easily ignite with the heat of the spark with the displace of the oxygen, cause asphyxiation. Fire may produce the irritating toxic gas. The vapors may explosive with the mixture with the air. Vapors may cause the dizziness, asphyxiation without warning. It is lighter than can mitigate with enclosed spaces. Alright, sour gas, crude oil. Emergency Response Guide 131 and Sour Gas Emergency Response Guide 117. Products containing little or no sulfur are often referred to as sweet, whether as products that contain high concentration sulfur over the full side. Sulfide, with commonly referred to as sour. Hydrogen sulfide, with the color is flammable, corrosive, extremely toxic, often rotten eggs, crude or natural oil, the bacterial breakdown, sulfur containing organic oxide, industrial activity produced with the hydrogen sulfide include petroleum, natural gas, digging, and refining with the wastewater treatment that cooks, ovens with the tanneries, paper mill with the natural gas, crude oil that is in contamination must be removed before the products and sent to the commercial markets. Hydrogen sulfide can be dissolved in liquids and may be released in agitation, depressurization, or heating. The hydrogen sulfide is heavier than the air will collect in the local place for the response. Appendix A, additional liquid and hazard information. Hydrogen sulfide or offensive odors related to detective at a very low concentration, heavy or small, cannot be relied on or forewarned. Dangerous concentration because of the rapidly degrade with the sense of smell due to the paralysis of the olfactory of the nerve of the lung. Exposure to the lower concentration, similar desensitization effective with the sense of the smell with exposure to relatively low level of hydrogen sulfide can be fatal with the physical effect of the variation concentration levels are shown by. And it's just parts per million can be smelled, obvious, and then range of flammable liquids of the H2 sulfide, hydrogen sulfide, 4%, 4 to 44% of the air volume, with a much greater the flammable liquid natural gas, 4 to 416. Alright, emergency preparedness. Pipeline incident with the present with some of the most dangerous situation emergency responder may encounter. Pipelines contain flammable, the hazardous, and even deadly petroleum, gas, liquids, other chemical products with the present. Emergency responder with the area that has liquid risk for the variable depending on the topographic weather property for the material involved with the majority of the pipeline incident with a limited number of options to actually stop leaking with almost all cases of the pipeline operator must involve the management of the incident safely. Consequently, your goal is to minimize the level of the risk of the response to the community environment. Advanced knowledge of the pipeline is located with the community of the property products transported in them, how the contact will work together with the pipeline operator and the incident with the key factors affecting the safe response. What should you know before the incident? The name of the company for operating the pipeline with the community, emergency and non-emergency contact information over the operator's proximity location from the pipeline with the material of the product being transported with the pipeline, physical indication unintended response, release, possible hazards associated with the unintended release, the maximum potential impact with the unintended the release may have, the steps should be taken to protect the public. The response capability of the pipeline operator. Following standardization procedures will bring consistently with each of the response will have the minimum of the risk with exposure for the other respond with the information transportation guide with the provided framework with discuss safety issues that the relay with the hazard risk represent with the pipeline emergency reviewing the standard pipeline incident response step. You should discuss with the emergency pipeline emergency preparedness how you will handle the incident within your community. Alright, incident steps. Effectively respond with the pipeline leak, the spill, the fire, the emergency respond with the need to understand the hazard risk associated with the incident. You should seek the additional information pipeline in question as soon as possible with a call with the 24-hour emergency phone number. Our nearby pipeline marker contact Contact the appropriate emergency response agent. Consult with the information for the data emergency response guide must provide with detailed situation-specific information. Pipeline operators, how you never have to respond with a pipeline incident, but if you do remember, every incident is different. Each will have a special problem with concern. Continue to gather information, monitor situations with the threats move. Step 1 is approach cautiously, uphill and down, from upwind, uphill, upstream. To protect yourself with the other, respond with the hazards associated with the incident with the critically approach with the cautiously with the uphill, upwind, and crosswind location. Stay clear of the vapor, fumes, and smoke spill. Do not walk or drive with the vapor cloud with the puddle with the liquid. Do not park over the manhole with the storm drains. Do not approach the scene with the vehicle with the mechanics and mechanized equipment with the isolation zone that has been established. Check vehicle engine with the potential ignition source. Use appropriate air monitoring equipment to see the establish the extent of the vapor travel because of the number of the fire hazards or health errors may be involved with the important. You resist the urge to resolve the until you know the amount of the more of the product and has been involved in the incident. No, do not assume the gas and vapors are harmless because of the lack of the smell. Odorless vapors may be harmful. Step 2. Secure the scene. Without entering the immediate head of the area, you want to isolate the area to deny entry of the unauthorized person, include the other. Respond with it may be necessary to evacuate the area. One danger area with a safe location upwind of the incident area. Establish isolation zone. Set up barricades. Isolation barricades to prevent unauthorized people and unprotected emergency responders from entering hazards and becoming injured. The size of the contaminant with the dictate of the location side of the release. You also want to consider the atmospheric consideration conditions as isolation distance change for the daytime or the nighttime due to the different with the mixing depression conditions of the air. Remember the gas order. Lack of the gas order is not sufficient measure for the established isolation zone. Based on the type of the incident, use any of the following with a calculate with the established incident isolation zone. The emergency response guide, the information pipeline operators represent the high intensity level. Measurement from the air monitoring equipment that use visible landmarks, barricade tape of the traffic cones with identify with the hot warm colds of the defined entry with the exit routes and plan escape routes within conditions of deteriorate. B. Make sure they allow enough room to move and remove your own equipment and more time distance to the shield between you and material low risk. Employ the incident command system. And the pipeline incident require the coordination information restored with all the responders employing with the incident with the command system. One of the most important actions of the incident command system provides a common terminology, organization, structural duties, operation procedure, amount of operator personnel vary with the federal, state, local emergency that may be involved with the response operation. Alright, identify the incident commander with the incident commander with the person responsible for the management on-scene emergency response operation, cooperation with the pipeline operators, point of the operation, contact with the incident commander to determine the safety of the response team, the entry of the area across the access of the pipeline, establish the posted lines for the communication staging area with the additional response equipment and personnel. Pipeline operative with dispatch personnel to the scene that may initiate with the other actions. Isolate closed affected pipeline segments. Operator personnel arrive at the scene with the will check in with the incident commander with the train with the incident commander have the proper with the authority of the pipeline company with the participate on unified command. Common practice the large incident with the other involved liquid spills impacting the environment. Step 3. Identify the hazard product, physical, chemical property to determine how the product will behave and how it can harm. Emergency responders need to analyze problem and access potential outcomes based on the hazard material involved with the understanding the hazard will be enabled to use the understanding what the risk of the taking of the held. You select the basic course of action with little risk. Locate the pipeline mark with a sign that identify with the pipeline product operator with a 24-hour emergency phone number. Call the emergency phone number to report the incident. Pipeline operator's control center with the control center personnel maybe to provide additional information about the pipeline product and its hazard. Use the data emergency response guide to identify the potential hazard to establish the initial isolation distance to determine the response with additional information contained in the appendix A, B, and C of this guide. A, B, C, and E of this guide. Use the air monitoring equipment appropriate for the material of the pipeline. Do not assume that the gas of the vapor is harmless because of the lack of the smell of quick desensitization of strong odors material with the stuff of the hydrogen sulfide with the anhydrous ammonia. Highest level of the precaution protection until you know that this flammable, the toxic, mechanized, or electrical hazards. Use the caution flammable, the atmosphere, hydrogen sulfide, crude oil, natural gas, and pipelines, anhydrous ammonia pipelines, oxygen deficiency, and rich atmosphere. Step 4. Assess the situation of the fire spill, a leak with a vapor cloud, with the weather conditions, the direction, wind blowing, the terrain like, or what would the who and what the risk of the pre-appeal property environment, what actions taken in evacuation shelter in place of diking, what import human equipment and resources required. Step 5, obtaining assistance with the trained personnel with the contact your organization. As soon as possible, contact your organization. This will set up the motion and steer the event with arranging dispatching additional trained personnel with the scene of the action, activation along emergency response, plan to ensure the local emergency response departments have been notified. Contact the pipeline operator immediately. Call the 24-hour emergency phone number to the pipeline operator with a listed mark sign located with the nearby road, crossing railroad, other point along with the pipeline right away. During the call of the pipeline control center with the personnel will dispatch representative on the scene of the control center will immediately act in ice over the emergency pipeline control center. May also have the capability to remotely open and close the manifold valves to transfer products both to and from the main pipeline at marketing and distribution facility. Be prepared to provide a pipeline control center personnel with the following information: callback number, the contact name of the usually incident commander with the detailed location inside, including state, county, town, street, and fire, street and road. Type of the emergency: fire, leak of the vapor, the incident with the reported locally with the known of the injuries, or other official with the site and policy, and the fire, medical, local emergency plan committees, such as surrounding exposure-sensitive areas, any special conditions of nearby school, hospitals, prisons, railroads, etc., local conditions, weather, terrain. Alright, step 6. Respond to protect the people, the property, for the environment. The protection of the people is always high with the priority to protect the actions of the staff of the take to preserve the health and safety of the emergency. Respond with the public during the pipeline incident. Pipeline operators concentrate with the pipeline responders with the should concentrate with the isolation, removing the ignition source of the moving the public with the harm's way. So the response with the procedures shouldn't be pursued simultaneously of the need with the continuous relief of the modified with the response accordingly. Rescue evacuation people, the efforts have made with the rescue person protect with the property of the environment must be weighed against the high possibility that you could become part of the problem. Do not walk or drive with a vapor cloud with a puddle. Look with evacuated shelter place if necessary. Provide instruction, frequent updates public while the evacuated shelter in place with the administrator of the first aid with the medical treatment as needed. The enter of the area with the wearing appropriate protective gear with the structural firefighter protective helmet, clothing, protective clothing. Helmet, coating of the paint, booth, gloves, hose of the positive pressure, self-contaminated breathing apparatus, or because no single protective clothing material will protect you from all dangerous pipelines. Always use the highest level of caution. Or eliminating addition sources include with electrical motors, firearms, fire vehicles, telephones, cell phones, emergency radios, cigarettes, construction equipment, and personal electronic devices, static electricity, open flames, and sparks. Eliminate ignition sources if possible with additional exposure with a great risk that may include having the utility company cover the power of the mark. Park all emergency vehicle with a safety distance beyond the isolation zone. Do not light a match or start an engine, telephone, radio, switch, or light on or off. Use any of that may create a spark. Control vapor to build fires, vapor to leak with the cover with the variable to consider the decision. Use the water and fires built involved with the water. Reactive materials should be based on the information of the authoritative source of the source of the pipeline operator who can be contacted with the calling 24-hour emergency phone number listed on the nearby pipeline markers. Sign. Warning. Some of the product with the hazardous ammonia react violently with exposure to the water getting inside of the rupture, leaking container that may cause the explosion product of the reaction of the water becoming toxic, corrosive, otherwise more undesirable. When the product of the fire without water applied with the consequently the best of this leave the fire and leak alone and accept to prevent spreading. Fire control, extinguishing primary fire can result with the explosive reignition unless it is necessary to save the human life. Flammable gases should not be extinguished with a flammable gas pipeline unless the fuel source has been isolated and the pipeline operator advises you to take that action. The fuel source is not shut off with the fire extinguisher. The leaking gas migrate away from the pipeline with the final ignition source. Let the primary fire burn eliminate potential ignition source for the cool surrounding structure. Equipment vessels become the world with efficient, even dangerous way with a few light fuel fires long with a pattern not straight with the steam water. Please note some of the product that are not capable of the water room adopt emergency response guidebook. Do not inhale fumes, smoke, vapors. Once primary fire is out because of the hot spot reignition, do not operate pipeline equipment. Vapor control, limiting the amount of the vapor released from the pool, flammable, the corrosive of the liquids required for the proper protective clothing, specialized equipment, appropriate chemical agent, skilled personnel for the reason the best containment of the hazard weight with the pipeline operative representative of the handle of the pipeline product. Do not inhale fumes, smoke, vapors, eliminate ignition source of the flammable gas may escape under the pressure of the pipeline from the vapor cloud to be ignited by the ignition source of an area. Explosion of the unconfined vapor clouds can cause the more structural damage, quickly escalate the emergency beyond the responders' capability to ignite the vapor cloud. Pipeline operators will perform this dangerous task. Avoid forced ventilation structure of the excavation. Forced ventilation can actually increase the possibility of flammable atmosphere. Limited fog misting can be some of the benefits of knocking down the vapor cloud, especially with the clouds that appear spreading beyond. Containment site fog misting must be used and carefully prevent the incompatible erotic water mixture spread with the product with the other areas. Containment dikes may become overfilled. Product compatible foam can be used to suppress vapors in a rescue situation. However, the extremely costly fuel discharge does not yet stop. Caution before using water spray with a form of foam can control vapor emission to the source of the ignition and other technical advice based on chemical name and ignition. Refer to the pipeline operated Department of Transportation Emergency Response Guidebook. Leaking control. Additional habit of such flammability of the toxic oxygen deficient liquid petroleum pipeline liquid eruption create with a major problem for the spill of the confinement of the containment. Seems likely that minor spills may involve the entry of the major spill of liquid inside of the pipeline continue with draining off the line. Ask yourself if the spill will be in a few hours. How to close the incident with exposure sensitive of the area. What then can be done with the confinement of the spill to divert the weight from the exposure barrier to prevent leaks from the spreading of the water source of the storm of the drain of the other sense of the area that several of the basic containment devices of the used to prevent mitigation of the petroleum product land in a small stream, storm sewer, manhole dam, the small stream, the containment of the boom of the pipeline, skimming unflow dam, wire vents or straw filter dam, and leak of the accidental and instant ignited firefighting should be focused on the limiting of the spread of the fire damage, but no circumstance should efforts be made to extinguish the fire until the source of the supply can be cut off and controlled. Do not walk into or touch spilled materials. Do not operate pipeline equipment. Alright, step 7, work together with the pipeline operator. The protection of life is always the highest priority. The pipeline operator will work with the concern of the local emergency response to eliminate the possible source of the ignition leak of the vapor cloud, to limit the containment of the spill with the communication coordinated with the key elements of the response effort. 911 center of the pipeline control center of the receive the initial notification, collect the critical information, dispatch personnel with equipment to the scene, disseminate information to the other agencies, other organizations, establish a point of contact, other communications. Our pipeline operators and representatives serve as the primary contact with communication between the operative team and the emergency responder. They're familiar with the instant command system, normalized hazmat operations, is certified with as well. Establish contact with instant commander before upon then arrival to avoid accident, incident, intentionary and isolation of his own and the ignition of this release. Recommendation actions taken, especially with the relay with the containment of the control of the pipeline product with the pipeline operator to represent with the stream to know how to shut off the supply of the gas like with the operator represented with the stream to operate with the proper pipeline equipment. The potential hazard may resemble the location. Additional complications may result with the response activities as they relate to pipeline and its products. How to fight small fire with a handheld extinguisher, administer with a basic fire state, CPR with the assisted evacuation and traffic control. Emergency responders maintain site control with the incident command with the eliminated ignition source, provides standby fire watching personnel to suppress vapor regeneration, provides standby rescue personnel, operator personnel entry with the incident area with the stop release with the release help maintain containment of dams and install the more as needed in minor atmosphere repair and contaminating area. Or together, incident commander of the pipeline operator, representative of the public health action levels regarding petroleum related to the air hazards during the release of discharge, as well as protective action taken with the public, with establishing a unified command as soon as practicable as responsible party operatives will take an active role in incident command structure review, whether the safety of the operator, emergency response team, and other equipment is entered with the incident area, determine whether the zone influence need with additional barricading of dike and coordinate with the public information needs for the affected area and ensure ensure that the relevant information is disseminated with the public community to decide if the area is safe for the public re-entry with a share with the after and action reports and cooperate with the improvements of the response procedure. Damage prevention, shared responsibility, pipeline integrity. The pipeline industry with a wide range of tools, technology, maintaining the safe operation, visually inspect with the above ground and pipes, and relay with the equipment for the corrosion of the damage, operate with the personal walk of the drive over the pipeline right ways, with the inspect with the unauthorized activity, other conditions that may endanger the pipeline. As you already know, with the pipeline control center, with the personal continuous monitoring with the pipeline operation will initiate with the corrective actions if problems are identified. Pipeline operators use inline inspection tools known as the smart pigs, the hydrostatic testing, electromagnetic testing, other techniques to identify with the defects of the code, threaten the pipeline integrity. The inspection testing of identify with the integrity threatening operations, operative with the corrosive of the action for the maintain safe operation. Excessive flow valves and curb valves. Excessive flow valves that automatically restrict the flow of the gas surface line with have been cut or damaged. This significantly reduce the risk of the failures and pipeline explosion. Excess flow valves are now required with a new and replaced surface line with a supply of gas with a single family residence protect against the uncontrolled fire. Gas is released to the large commercial with the industrial gas under industrial use. The gas distribution companies that are required to install the curb of the valve with the manually operated with the shutoff valve with the near the surface of the manual. Excessive flow valves are for all new replaced service line with a meter of the capabilities exceeding 1,000 standard cubic feet per hour. Policies regarding Operation Curb Valve with emergency response personnel should be coordinated with the local gas company also, so all parties are clear about what might be expected. Emergencies affecting pipelines may type of the emergency situation can affect the buried pipeline. These include the terrain derailments, floods, earthquake, forest fire structures, collapsible, other similar events that have disturbed and will be removed of the response efforts for the situation. Pipeline companies should be notified of the possible so that they can monitor the verify the integrity of the nearby pipeline. Certain states respond but may be able to notify that they operate with the emergency system, emergency calling 811. Informing 811, informing a one-call center with the situation proceed with all the type of the notification, operate with the barrier facility, notify will respond with coordinate with the pipeline during the emergency situation will ensure for the safety of the response team of the surrounding community. Security damaging report in the nation time with the high insecurity of the most important effort with the protect the pipeline with again for the damage of the attack with the homeland security with the infrastructure of the protection share with the responsibly report and damage unusual suspicious activity along pipeline right away with the pipeline operative. The operators immediately investigate the repair with the damage of the Transportation Security Administration wants to operate with the critical infrastructure and notify that the incident with the indicative of the deliberate attempt to disrupt the pipeline with the operative. The activity could be precursors to such events include explosion of the fire with a suspicious nature affecting the pipeline system facilities, assets, actual suspected attacks of the pipeline system facilities, assets of the bomb threat, weapons of the mass destruction threats of the pipeline facility, theft of the pipeline company vehicle with the uniforms, employee credentials, suspicious vehicle around with the pipeline facility, asset for the right of way, the suspicious photograph. Possible surveillance of pipeline facility, suspicious inquiries of the facility operation security practices, suspicious individuals applying the secure sensitive position of company with theft of and sensitive security information, detailed map security plans, the actual suspected critical cyber attack with the SCADA IT system. Local authorities may be notified of these kind of events, be asked to participate in following an investigation. And then it goes into Appendix A, and then the Appendix D, natural gas escaping in the building. And that was that right there was your was a quick look at the Pipeline Emergency Response Guidelines for Pipeline Association Public Awareness.